So here in this video, I want to be very clear on what's likely to happen next week. What are the possible outcomes and what will ultimately happen with AMC stock? On top of that, I want to get into the data here so you guys are caught up to date with the latest numbers, but I also want to get into some of the data that we don't talk about on a day-to-day basis, something that has actually been highly requested over the last couple of days, and that is the average days out on loan. Because we've heard these numbers, like shorts lost 1.91 billion in the first 3 months of 2023 just to shorting AMC and the cost to borrow fees. Not to mention the fact that AMC stock is up somewhere around 30% year to date. Don't even take that into consideration. They've lost 3 times the total value of short positions in AMC in just 3 months. That is a pretty big deal. And time is of the essence for the hedge funds. Don't worry, we'll get into everything you need to know and much more here in this video. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. There is no such thing as a stupid comment, so comment down below. Now, as we do also get deep into earnings season next week with companies like McDonald's, 3M, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, eBay, and many more companies reporting earnings, maybe it's a good time for you to join the trading community. Link down below in the description of this video. A great place to be. We would love to have you. Welcome you with open arms. Now, let's get into, first things first, the data here. And some things that we cover all the time, right? $678 million worth of short positions currently. This fluctuates as the short interest fluctuates. This also fluctuates as the price of AMC goes up and down. The higher AMC's price is, the more dollars that are short in AMC. Currently sitting at just under $700 million. Estimated short interest of free float, 26.42%. This is the highest number that you have seen ever in this whole trade. You have not seen this degree of short interest. And it comes all down to one thing. This arbitrage trade, oh my gosh, that just woo, we're gonna leave that in the video. My hand's down here under the desk and the cat just like pawed it and felt like a human hand. Oh my gosh, that scared the crap out of me actually. But yeah, nonetheless, the highest short interest numbers that we have seen in the history of this trade all comes down to the arbitrage trade. That's it. Some of these shorts, granted, we've been at like 20%, 21% short interest. For a vast majority of this trade, some shorts have been very stubborn in their unrelentingness to cover on their short positions. And they've been getting washed out, right, for the most part, solely based off of those cost to borrow rates. But a lot of shorts are in this trade just for the arbitrage trade. Now, you do have 193.4 million shares that are currently out on loan. Days to cover at about 5.5. That really means that for the amount of shares currently sold short, which sits at 136 million shares, it means that roughly it would take about 5 days for all shorts to cover on their short positions. And this is calculated by the average volume for any day on AMC stock. It's about 5 times less than 136 million. So roughly call it 25 million shares. And the higher that is, the greater likelihood to get a short squeeze, because when you start to get a volume influx, you start to get AMC stock going higher, it's just showing you that you have not had that much volume. So when you get volume spikes, it can dramatically, more or less, move AMC stock up higher. Now, what is going to move AMC stock up higher? Well, it's this arbitrage trade. And I know people have their own opinions, and this could happen, that could happen, right? we've heard, and there's a lot of possible outcomes here. But I think it's very clear. Morgan Zurn is letting one individual retail investor plead his case, or her case, his case. We assume it's Brian Tuttle at this point. I believe it's almost confirmed it is. To plead the case for the judge. And I think there's a very compelling argument. We've talked about it. AMC literally broke not only their fiduciary duty to AMC common stockholders, but they also broke rules and broke laws by selling away AMC common stock voting power. And just listen. I mean, use some common sense here. And I know we all have been. But APE represents 1/100th of AMC stock. Per share is 1/100th interest in AMC common stock. Well, why would they have the same voting power as AMC common stock? That don't make sense. And AMC broke rules, right? The DCG, I believe it is 254 or 252 maybe. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's been highly reported on from me and from everyone else in the community. It's been a long day. I can't think of the actual numbers there. But they broke those rules. So I think Morgan Zurn is not a stupid woman. I think she's going to understand fully what AMC did, and especially after, I assume, Brian Tuttle again pleads his case for AMC retail investors, because this was a common class lawsuit, right? Class meaning all shareholders. And I think Morgan Zurn is going to come to the conclusion of a couple things. I think the greatest likelihood is actually seeing a revote. That's number one. That's the greatest chance. The least likely is that this just gets passed, right? That she says, yeah, AMC, go ahead, do what you got to do. I guess you call it the not as likely, but possible, would be just outright saying, AMC, you cannot do this. Like, we're not going to let you guys do this. There's no reverse split. There's nothing. And I think, obviously, like I said, the most possible outcome is a revote. And a revote's going to take time. And you're going to have a month and a half, 2 months until anything were to materially happen. And then after that revote, likely have to go back to court. Long story short, these cost of borrow rates that hedge funds are paying right now, and the pressure that is on them in this trade, and we'll look at the days to the average time out on loan as well. They cannot afford this to take a while. They have to see AMC move down. I mean, just think about it. They're $700 million short in AMC. They lost $1.91 billion in 3 months. Not to mention AMC stock has risen 30%. They are grasping at straws here to try to get this proposal to go through soon. And I think on the case of a revote, just that alone, a revote, you probably see a 20 to 50% rally in a single day. That's what I would expect. Now, Tuesday is going to be the big day, April 25th, and we're going to get a new update. And likely is that revote, in my personal opinion. Could be wrong, obviously, but that's what it seems like to me. So my base case, actually, for next week is a very sizable rally. And like I said, I think that's the most likely outcome. Now, the other outcomes here, if the judge just lets this go through, AMC can do the reverse split. I mean, you could probably expect some downside. If this just gets pushed out for comments, then up or down, 20% wouldn't surprise me here. But again, I think the most likely outcome is a ferocious rally for next week. And in the unlikely, let's be honest, unlikely event that this just gets totally dismissed by the judge, you will see the MOASS. I mean, that's not financial advice. Do what you guys want to do, come to your own conclusions, all that good stuff. But there's a possibility that you see the start of the MOASS next week. And AMC stock could easily double, triple, 4, 5x if this were to get dismissed by Judge Zurn. And I think a dismissal is possible, but not at this court hearing. I think if we get another court hearing, maybe towards the end of May-ish, I would imagine, I think at that point, it might be dismissed. But I don't think the first real hearing on this, you're going to get a dismissal. It's possible, but not as much. And I think just getting another court date, like I said, you'll see a very strong rally. Now, don't be confused here, right? Some people want this to happen. Some people want to see all this dilution and AMC raise billions of dollars. I'm agnostic. I really don't care. I think in the short term, if the judge did deny this and all these shorts are caught off sides, you're going to get the MOASS, right? There's almost no way you could not at that point, since all these shorts are balls deep in these short positions when they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars a month. I mean, that's simple logic here. You would get shorts covering on their short positions. It's almost a certainty. And it could happen, right? Could happen next Tuesday. It might take longer. But even if the judge lets the reverse split happen, I think when AMC does raise a lot of capital, billions and billions of dollars, they pay off all their debt, they can have billions in the bank, that also crushes the short thesis. And don't forget, 26.3% of the float is currently sold short. That still has to be bought back if you do this arbitrage trade or not. If these hedge funds are shorting AMC, they're buying APE, it still has to be closed out of, right? This reverse split does not just get rid of all the short interest. No, it still has to be covered on. So in a weird way, you might have seen so much negativity already that if this was actually announced, AMC could rally in theory. It'd be like a sell the rumor, buy the news kind of event. That would also not surprise me. And considering AMC is less than $5 per share, it's not $10, $15, $20 per share. You're not heading into this hearing and subsequent news on a high note. No, you're pretty low, right? But again, if AMC does raise a lot of capital, I think that gives you the MOASS as well. And I think it's fundamentally a positive thing for AMC, but it would take a while, right? It would take a while for AMC to actually do the reverse split. It would take a while for AMC to announce how much capital they are going to have. Those things can take some time. So I think court could give you the MOASS sooner, but either way, it's coming. And apes, we are not leaving. So those are kind of my opinions, kind of what I think could happen as far as percentages. Again, if we get another court date from here, you probably rally 20 to 50%. If Judge Zurn says AMC cannot do the reverse split at all, they broke fiduciary duties, this was illegal, what they did, then I think you get the MOASS. Then I think you could rally hundreds of percents, 1,000% from here, if not more. It's hard to tell when you're this short in a name. And I think in the most unlikely scenario, if Judge Zurn said, yep, settlement approved, AMC, you could do your reverse split. Just make sure you pay out the settlement. That's the most unlikely scenario, and then this trade would come true, right? And then in that case, AMC would probably drop like 20%. But I think that's a less than 5% chance that happens. I think there's a 60% chance that you get another court day and a revote. And then I think there's probably a 35% chance Judge Zurn says this was illegal and this cannot happen. So that's kind of the weighting that I would put on the possible outcomes. Now, something that has been highly requested is this: the average days out on loan. Now, that's what I have here. This line with like the little dots right here, that is the exchange reported short interest. So you could see it's went pretty parabolic ever since you hit the low, actually, back here in August of 2022, when short interest actually dropped by a little bit. Last time, granted, short interest really fell at all. You've been going higher ever since December of 2022. It's been pretty consecutively higher. And you're now hitting the highest levels that you have seen in a very long time. But what is also hitting the highest levels that you've seen in a long time is the average days out on loan. That is sitting at 112 days out on loan. If we go ahead and pull up all-time numbers for AMC, you've never been this high for the days out on loan. Back here in 2021 in June, when AMC rallied, average days out on loan was about 45. The exchange reported short interest hit a high of 23.5%. So you have literally not been where we are as far as the data, literally ever with AMC. Ever since this arbitrage trade has, or ever since this short trade has been around, right? This MOASS trade, you have not been so bullish with the data. Just a fact. It's a literal fact. And shorts are getting washed out. Cost to borrow average at 351%. Cost to borrow max 363%. Cost to borrow minimum 236%. Shorts need to act. They need action. They need AMC to fall. And if AMC does not fall and AMC actually rallies, you will get short squeezed out of those short positions. I mean, mark my words, write it down. I don't care. It will happen. Not financial advice, obviously, a disclaimer, come to your own conclusions. But that could send AMC stock up dramatically higher from here. Especially, and I think a lot of people forget this, AMC is well known in the investment community. You don't think hedge funds or institutional investors or other retail investors that are not in AMC are not going to trade this? Everyone's going to be talking about AMC again. Everyone's going to be trading AMC. If it's shares or options or both, well, to be determined. But likely all of them. They're all going to be buying it up. Because, again, this has been the most public trade, I would argue, in history. So, these are some things that make me pretty damn excited. Let me know if you're excited, what your base case outcome is for next week, next Tuesday, April 25th. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Like I said, if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.